Hello everyone, welcome to training module number 1. So in this training module, we are going to be going over the emotions of love and fear and why those are important. We're going to be touching on a little bit of spirituality stuff, so for those of you that maybe aren't spiritual, don't worry, I wasn't either. And regardless of whatever your faith is, whether you have religion that you follow or practice, or you have none, maybe you're an atheist, maybe you're more scientific based, don't worry, these principles will apply and you can use these in your everyday life. In fact, I use these in business examples, but for today's purpose, we're going to focus mainly on personal stuff because this entire group is about your personal happiness. Now, these are things that I will be referring back to frequently as we go through different trainings, as I continue to do lives. So this is foundational material. Now, this isn't mine, but these are tools that I actually use. I got most of this from, well, actually in this particular training, all of this came from Marianne Williamson's book, A Return to Love. If you want, go read that. If you want the Cole's notes of it, I will be sharing that in this training. So we're going to be going over this. So this is going to help focus on a logical side. All right, so bear with me as I turn my back. But part of this training, I am doing this live as I do these training modules because I want you to get a good feel of what it's like to interact with me, how I teach, how I coach, and the various things that I do so that you can see if you are a business owner and you want to move to another level with me and you want to work more one-on-one or in a group setting with me, then this gives you a good idea and a good feel for what I do. In the meantime, you can actually apply this information to your life. And if that's all you need, that's great, because I think these tools definitely need to be brought to people to help them cultivate a happier life. So let's get down to the basics. All right, so we have God equals love. Okay, so for those of you that struggle with God or have maybe trauma around God, I've had friends and coworkers and people that I've known over the years that have been abused by people that were representations of what God was supposed to be, and that sometimes leaves a bad taste in their mouth, that they're not comfortable with the word God. So if you are not comfortable with the word God, I want you to switch that out to good, orderly direction. So think of anything that is good. So if God equals love, and say the devil equals fear. Okay? Only love is real. Fear is an illusion. Okay? Fear is false evidence appearing real. Okay? And I want you to think of love and fear on a continuum. Okay? So say we've got fear over here, and then we've got love over here. Everything is either a cry for or an expression of love. So when we think of those two extremes, any of our emotions, any behaviors that we exhibit, whether it's self-sabotage, that's probably a cry for love, or if it's caring for somebody else or doing something kind or compassionate, that's an expression of love. And these two emotions have very different energies to them. Love is very open, very expansive, very relaxed, whereas fear is very contracted, it's closed off, it's not open. So you can see is this one is closed and this is open energy. So when we think of physical expression, it's open to love. When we think of having our arms wide open, that we are sharing love or expressing love, giving, open, right? Whereas we're closed off, it's like gimme, 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 right? So that kind of energy, all of the emotions will fall into one of these two buckets, right? And here's the good thing, is if you're not sure, is this love, is this fear, more than likely, if you're unsure and you can't clearly understand that this is love, then it is definitely fear. Now, it might be on this part of the continuum, it might be more neutral in the middle ground, but it will fall either towards fear or towards love, and we're always moving one way or the other, okay? So we can, if we're going down, we're not doing so well, then we're heading towards fear, and we're getting more and more and more closed off. And when we start tearing down the walls, we become more and more open, right? And so that is when we are at our best selves. That is when we are the most giving. That is when we are the most creative. That is when we are the most productive. So that's the understanding of fear and love, and what that is. Remember, everything is either a cry for or an expression of love, okay? So we will go over this in much more detail as I go through other trainings, but this is the foundation. Everything gets run through this filter, because if you are in a situation where you're like, okay, but I'm not sure, is this love or is this fear, Tina, and I don't know what to do about this particular situation, if you find it more on the end of fear, all you have to remember is fear is false evidence appearing real. So if this is not real, then how do I move from this energy, a closed energy, back to an open energy where I can be much more expansive, much more expressive? Okay? So your homework assignment for this is, what does love look like and feel like for you? I want you to think of examples of what does love look like. You know, some people will say, well, it's being patient, it's being kind, it's being, it doesn't keep any records of wrong. Yes, I know that's more of the Christian stuff, and I do have some Christian side to me, although if you pair me with them, they'll probably say, no, she's not Christian. So I'm somewhere in the middle, and that's okay. I'm good with that. This works for me. Like I said, I share the stuff that actually works for me. So now that's assignment 1, is what does love look like for you? Make sure that you put that in the comments of what does love look like for you. And then conversely, I want you to say, what are some examples of non-loving behavior? Okay, and try to keep this personal for yourself, right? Not of what other people are doing to you, but more yourself. How do you express love? How do you show love? What does that look like for you? And what does it not look like for you? It's like, oh, I hate it when somebody does this, or I hate it when somebody does that. Whatever it is, put those in the comments, and that is your homework assignment for Module 1. So continue to Module 2, and we're going to go over the 4 stages of fear. I know, I told you fear is false evidence appearing real, but what I want you to understand is in that module, we're going to go over how to recognize fear in its various forms, okay? So we'll see you in Module 2. Don't forget to comment that you have completed the homework. Maybe you don't want to share personally, that's okay, but at least comment that you have completed this module and you have put some thought into what does love look like for you and what does fear look like for you, okay? So we'll see you in Module 2. Bye.